Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all well. In this video, we're going to take a look at creative ways of using triads. Now, the first thing to remember about triads is they set you free on the fretboard. They get you away from all these big clunky chords that can be unwieldy and take too much space in the track, and instead they get you thinking about register and tone. So a C major chord down here sounds really different to a C major chord up here. I'd use this one for kind of indie folk, Americana and rock. And this is more where you live for sort of soul, pop and funk. So hopefully by the end of this video, you're going to be viewing the fretboard differently. Let's start off with the first triad trick. The first thing we can do is to take the shapes you already know, the basic shapes, and modify them to get more interesting chords. So let's start off with a simple A major chord, this one here. So that's 5th root 3rd. And all we're going to do is get rid of the 5th, the E, and replace it with the flat 7, the G, up here at the 5th fret on the D string. So now you've got a simple way of playing an A7 chord that doesn't take up too many fingers or take up too much space in a track. And we can also move that around really easily. We can do A7 here, up to D7 here, the root's on the G string, fret 7. And that's how they play 7th chords in country, so they build up these kind of sequences. And that is so different from this kind of A7. Up to a D7. But we can go even further. From this point, we can get rid of the root on the 2nd fret of the G string, the A, and replace it with a note 2 frets higher, the 9th, the B. So now we've got a really cool sounding A9 chord. Here it is with the root against it. And again, we can play A9 to D9. And we're getting that really cool funk sound. We can go even further. Let's try this. So from this shape here, the A9, I'm just going to drop the 3rd, the note on the 2nd fret of the B string, down a semitone to a C. Now I've got this really gorgeous A minor 9 chord. It's a bit of a stretch, but it sounds great. Next up, we're going to use triads as basic substitutions for bigger chords. Check this out. Here's an A major 7 shape. Takes up all the fingers, takes up tons of space in the track. It's just too much going on. If we get rid of the root note, the A, we're left with a C sharp minor triad. So if we want to play an A major 7 and we've got a bass player playing the root note, the A, we just have to play the minor triad a 3rd above the root, C sharp minor. So wherever you've got a C sharp minor triad, you've got an A major 7. They're all over the place. Remember, the C sharp minor triad is giving you the 3rd C sharp, the 5th E, and the major 7 G sharp. And another really useful one is minor 7 flat 5 chords. Let's do the same thing with an A minor 7 flat 5. So with this shape here, we've got the root, flat 7 G, minor 3rd C, and then the flat 5th E flat at the top. Get rid of the root note and we're left with a C minor triad. So again, wherever we've got a C minor triad, put an A bass note against it, and you've got an A minor 7 flat 5. And the simple way to remember that is to get the minor 7 flat 5, play a minor triad, a minor 3rd above the root. A, minor 3rd above is C, C minor. Before we carry on, you can find all my lesson resources, that's tabs, backing tracks, and tons more video lessons on my Patreon. The link is below. You'll get all the tabs for this lesson, and you're generally going to get the most out of these lessons if you can use the audio and the tab to really dig into what's going on. Let's carry on. One of my favorite approaches with triads is to use open strings against them. Now check this out. Here's a simple chord progression. We're going to play C major, D major, F sharp major like this in the open position. Sounds pretty cool, but it doesn't have much color to it. Here's the same thing played with an open string against each chord. So all I'm doing there is playing this second inversion C major down here. So that's 5th root major 3rd, G, C, E. And then adding the open G against it. It's fine, sounds pretty cool. But it's even better on the D chord. Now the G is adding a 4th, and we get this really great sound. And when we move to the F, the G is now the 9th. So now we've got a part that's full of life and has this really great color to it. Perfect for indie folk and Americana, but it works beautifully on the higher registers as well. Take a D major triad like this one, and add the open E string against it. We get this really sweet D add 9 chord, D major with the 9th E added on top. Try the same thing on a B major triad. The E is now going to be the 4th on the top. Play it against the G is the 6th. So open strings can be such a fast way to get more ideas. Even better if you move the same shape up and down and the open string reacts to each chord like it did in the first example. Quick pause to say if you can hit subscribe and leave a comment for this video. It really helps me out just to know if you're enjoying these things, if you're watching them, and if I should carry on making more lessons for you. Let's continue with the video. You can get some really sophisticated sounds with triads if you start exploring what's called spread triads, where the notes are just further apart from each other. You'll hear this in Eric Johnson's playing all the time. So check this out. Here's a basic E major, A major chord progression, a 1-4. Sounds fine. Again, it's quite muddy, it's quite thick, there's not that much interest happening. If we use spread triads, we'll get this effect. So what I've got there is an E major triad, spelled with the 3rd root 5th, G sharp, E, and then the B, the 5th on top. And then we move to a root position A major, but this time it's spelled root, 5th E, 3rd on the top, C sharp. And what we get there is that really nice common tone in between the two chords, the E existing in both chords, both in E major and A major. So these two notes move against it. And then you can start building these great chord sequences, just using the chords that are diatonic to the key, the chords that exist in the key. Check this out. A really simple approach is to take the 3 notes in a triad and then just add a 9 on top. So for example, an A major triad here. We're just going to add the 9 on top, which is the B, fret 7 of the E string. And then you get that chord with just a bit more interesting color to it. You can do the same thing here. And another great way to do that is take this basic A major shape, this second inversion triad, and replace the root with the 9, the B. Very Andy Summers. So you have an A add 9 here, or here, where the 9 is taking the place of the root. Or add the root back in. Triads work really well against pedal tones. That's a low note that stays the same, whilst the triad moves against it. It's just instant Pete Townsend. And the same thing works really well with the open A string as the pedal tone. And the low E does the same thing as well. So that's a great way to create interesting chord progressions, just moving simple shapes against open pedal tones. And finally, a more complex thing with triads is to view them as individual voices which can then move against each other. It's the real Robert Johnson kind of turnaround thing like this. So there we start with this A major triad, and then move the notes upwards, and then down and up, and then we move to another inversion, this first inversion A major triad, third in the bass. Now the notes move down, but the inner notes on strings 4 and 3, the D and G strings, stay the same. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you found those useful. There are tons of things you can do with triads. This is just scratching the surface. Remember, hit subscribe to see more videos and come and join me at Patreon to get all my lesson resources and many, many more lessons that will keep you moving forward. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.